For this one, you're going to create tension with the band and your lats and your core. You're going to wrap your TVA so the pelvic floor is lifted. You're going to knit the lower ribs. You may keep the head lifted to keep an eye on your TVA to make sure that as you're moving the other leg, things aren't coming undone. Next up, we have a supported side plank, knee to elbow, with the band reaching overhead. As you bring the knee and the elbow together, feel free to open up towards the knee and then return back to that side plank position. The hips can lower a bit as you do so, but then make sure you come up nice and tall to that full side plank position. Again, we're supported on the knee here. Finally, we'll be doing half kneeling anti-rotation, finishing with a pulse. So as you do these rotational pulls, you're trying to keep the hips as stable as possible, rotating across the body to the other side. When you finish your set of full range reps, you will then go into these nice, tight little pulses. Again, keeping the hips still. Mobility flow for hamstrings and hips. Grabbing some yoga blocks, you are going to come into a half kneeling position, supporting yourself on the yoga blocks, pressing your back shin into the floor, squeezing that back glute, and trying to remain square with your hips. Throughout this entire practice, I want you to think of diaphragmatically breathing. So breathing in and out through your nose, using your diaphragm to pull air into the lungs, and exhaling everything out again through the nose. We're passing from this low lunge position, pushing back to a kneeling half splits or a hamstring stretch. You cannot see my foot here of the front leg, but try not to pull the toes back when you go into the hamstring stretch right here. Let the foot just be nice and relaxed. While you're in this forward fold, use the support of the blocks as much as you need to or as little as you desire. Do try to keep your back nice and flat as opposed to rounding down. Passing through these positions, we'll then pull through to a little bit more of an extended long low lunge, using the hand to perhaps gently guide the hip forward. Again, you're squeezing that back glute. You might also grab the front knee to help you square off a little bit or to hold a nice square position. We're then going to go into a Psoas stretch, inhaling, reaching the right arm up, and as you exhale, tipping over to the right side, still maintaining that tension through the hips. From here, we'll push up and back into pyramid pose. Using the blocks, making sure the spine is nice and flat as opposed to going into a nice lordotic curve, which is what I like to do. You are going to be pushing both feet firmly into the ground. If the back heel does not hit the floor, that's okay. When you're ready, step forward to a forward fold. We'll use the yoga blocks to rise on up to a nice flat back, and as you exhale, you'll fold back down, letting yourself hang nice and heavy in that bottom position. Now we'll simply step back with the other foot, setting ourselves up to go through this sequence in the opposite order on the other side. So again, coming into pyramid pose, using the blocks for support, finding a nice long spine from the tailbone to the crown of your head. Lift the front kneecap, bringing tension to the quadricep, and push the big toe of the front leg into the floor. From here, we're going to lower on down, coming into our nice long low lunge. Again, pressing that back shin firmly into the ground, squaring your hips, squeezing the back glute, and breathing. And we're breathing through all of this anyways, but just a gentle reminder to breathe. We'll be passing through our kneeling half splits, coming back through as you're ready to that nice long low lunge. Again, as you're ready, you'll push the hips back, let the front foot remain nice and relaxed. Do not pull the toes back. That is a habit that I'm trying to get myself to break, and I would like to encourage you to break it as well. It is not bad, but it is more of a nerve stretch than a hamstring stretch. As you're ready, we will go ahead and go into our Psoas stretch. So reaching, inhaling the left hand up, and as you're ready, exhaling over to the right side, really breathing into that stretch, holding that for a few breaths. And at this point, we'll remove our yoga blocks and we'll get ready to finish this series with some pretty informal pigeons. And you can start with that right leg out in front, extending the left leg behind you. As always, if pigeon doesn't feel great for you, you can by all means go into a seated figure 4 or any variation of a stretch that will get into that front hip. You can come down to the forearms like I am right there, or you can remain up on the hands. When you do go to transition to the other side, I want you to try to pass through into a straddle position and see how far you can get before you have to use your hands to set yourself up on the other side. Clearly, for me, it wasn't too far. I had to use my hands relatively quickly, but that's it all. Enjoy.